Welcome back. This is episode 2, the final one.
We covered how Netflix found product-market fit via relentless tests and one brutal insight: no late fees.
Also, we went deep on culture, freedom with teeth, basically.
And how failure shouldn't trigger blame, it should trigger learning loops.
The late fees story is wild because it's so emotionally engineered.
Yeah, like it's the perfect villain in the movie. Thanks for returning. Now pay up.
I love that loss aversion angle. People hate losing $4 more than gaining $4.
Exactly, it turns customer friction into punishment theater.
And Blockbuster's whole model baked the punishment in, so changing it was basically impossible.
But I wonder, was it really impossible, or just politically and culturally cowardly?
That's the thing. The movie Robot walks away right before it grabs your ankle.
That metaphor is so on point. Seconds from killing Netflix, then they pivot to random corporate chaos.
But the bigger lesson wasn't just remove late fees, it was remove impediments.
Right. Turn the company's disadvantage into a competitive advantage.
Like the delay lag becomes zero because subscribers stack inventory at home.
Also, you stop thinking in one rental transaction and start thinking in ongoing habit.
And that's why the subscription shift mattered more than people admit.
Subscription looks simple until you realize month one burns cash while months pay you back.
It's basically spend $100 to acquire, then pray the next 10 payments arrive.
Pray is not a business plan, but in .com times, that was the vibe.
And then when the bubble pops, suddenly the wheelbarrows stop.
Yup, irrational exuberance to scarlet letter overnight.
I keep coming back to the line about learning from bad tests.
That was my favorite meta point. A slow, perfect experiment is still an experiment that can fail silently.
But isn't speed plus sloppiness how you ship garbage and confuse customers?
They weren't trying to impress the internet. They were trying to detect signal.
So their definition of good test became, if customers perk up, something real is there.
Exactly, and they could only get there by running tests constantly, like a daily cadence.
Imagine telling a boardroom, we're going to be sloppy on purpose.
Boards hate that sentence more than they hate spreadsheets.
The conversation about failure creates blame felt very real, though.
Because most companies treat a failed test like a moral event, not a data event.
And Netflix was like, failures are just tests that didn't work, but still taught you something.
Still, you and I know celebrate failure can become an excuse for chaos.
True, but their system was quick, cheap, easy, so chaos was bounded by design.
That's the difference. Risk-managed learning versus reckless experimentation.
Also, the book title That Will Never Work is a whole vibe.
It's like the founder speed run of disbelief, prove them wrong.
And when he explains what part worked and why, that honesty is refreshing.
Yeah, he's basically like, the market showed up, stop asking me to guess physics.
I like the boardroom advice too. Don't debate the perfect test, run more tests.
If you had to ask, you should be testing. That was the energy.
But there's still a discipline layer, right? You can't just random walk.
Totally random tests are noise, but structured hypotheses with rapid execution are signal.
So it's like science, except the microscope is your customer reactions and behavior.
Now culture, observational culture instead of aspirational posters.
I love that punchline. You can't print freedom on a wall and call it culture.
Culture is what founders model. Who gets challenged, who gets trusted, what gets rewarded.
The no guardrails line is so spicy, though.
It's not no guardrails exactly, it's higher judgment. Big difference, huge difference.
And that policy changes because 5% of people can't execute responsibly.
Every unlimited holiday story ends with, we had to fix it for Tom, Dave, and Nigel.
Yep, until you realize the real fix is firing the 3 people, not adding bureaucracy.
That's the adult answer. Build the system that makes good judgment profitable and bad judgment expensive.
And the hot tub anecdote. People want agency, not amenities.
Agency, clarity of responsibility, and trust that doesn't pretend adults are children.
That's why the treat me like an adult rule hits.
Also, the date night Tuesday policy, like operationalizing life balance.
That part was surprisingly practical. Leave at 5, crises wait.
And it worked because people learn patterns. If you model it, the organization adapts.
After a while, crises stopped happening after 5 on Tuesdays. That's hilarious and sad.
It's basically scheduling gravity out of your life.
The regret question at the end, he waited 2 years to try subscription with DVDs.
Hindsight is brutal. When you already know subscription economics, why take forever to connect the dots?
That might be the final meta lesson. Curiosity plus speed beats I'll figure it out later.
And also, keep testing until the market makes the truth impossible to ignore.
All right, that's the end of the series. Thank you for hanging with us.
Next time you're stuck, run another test, protect judgment, and remember to live too.
Welcome back. Last episode we talked pivots, culture, and speed.
This one digs into the exact Netflix moment. No late fees, fast experiments, and why freedom works.
The no late fees thing is so simple it feels almost unfair they're crediting it.
Exactly. Like how does a CFO not say, "Chat, why are we punishing people?"
But they said late fees weren't just pricing. They were the entire villain of Blockbuster.
Yep, because it's loss aversion, losing money feels worse than gaining the same amount.
So the customer isn't upset about $3. They're upset about feeling punished.
Congratulations, you returned it. Now pay the penalty for existing.
And then the psychology ties into peak and end, so the last minute destroys the whole memory.
That's wild. Netflix fixes the ending, not the average experience.
And then it becomes a distribution advantage. Order now, watch now, return later.
Right, the time lag becomes basically zero versus drive, wait, rewind, repeat.
Blockbuster had the movie in the store. Netflix had the movie on your TV.
That's the plot twist. The worse business model was actually faster and more convenient.
But was it actually product market fit or just they found one clever lever?
He basically said it worked because it removed an impediment baked into the old model.
So late fees were not a small feature. They were the structural constraint.
Exactly. And once you remove it, the whole system starts compounding in your favor.
That's like turning off friction and suddenly your funnel becomes a waterfall.
Except the friction was moral outrage, not just engineering latency.
I love the part about tests too. He went from perfectionism to test in a week, then faster.
And he realized speed makes the test sloppy, but the signal from customers is loud anyway.
Wait, but wouldn't sloppy tests mislead you sometimes?
Sure, but he's saying if the idea has even a spark, customers react even when the landing is ugly.
So customers are basically the QA team for your strategy.
It's like, we crashed the site, but people still raise their hands, so the market was already voting.
That's also why culture matters. They treated learning as the outcome, not passing the test.
He was allergic to the word failure, and honestly, I want to steal that vocabulary.
But can every company actually pull this off? Or is it just a founder superpower?
He implied it's not superpower. It's incentives. Stop blaming. Start celebrating quick learning.
Still, people are human. Fear of blame is default psychology.
Yeah, and boardrooms love perfect plans, because failure feels politically expensive.
Meanwhile, he's like, run more tests, and you can see everyone's soul leaving their body.
Sir, our risk tolerance is currently 0 decimals.
Also, the no guardrails, freedom, and responsibility part. This sounded radical but oddly practical.
The premise is judgment, not permission. Hire people with good judgment, or the freedom collapses.
He even basically said the guardrails only exist because a few people ruin it for everyone.
So Unlimited Holiday dies because Tom and Dave and Nigel can't behave like adults.
Call it rule erosion, the natural law of workplaces.
But the Netflix move is brutally honest. Instead of changing the system, change the people.
That's high trust, though. Most orgs can't do that without lying to themselves.
True, but the bar is consistency. If you say use judgment, your behavior has to match it.
If a founder micromanages, the posters might as well be wallpaper.
I liked his take. Culture isn't aspirational, it's observational. What leadership actually does.
That also explains why it's hard to fake. People watch and model you instantly.
And he contrasted it with that amenities don't matter moment. People want agency, not nap pods.
Engineers in the hot tub complaining, peak human behavior.
It's a good reminder. Perks are temporary, respect and autonomy are structural.
Then the personal stuff, Tuesday date night, felt like the same philosophy applied to life.
Scheduling gravity out of your life is the most startup sentence ever.
Because if you don't protect time, work will claim it politely forever.
And he said after a while, crises stopped after 5, meaning the system adapted to the boundary.
Boundaries as product design? Honestly, yes.
But real people say, I can't leave at 5, my job is on fire.
Maybe, but if everything is always on fire, that's also a culture choice.
At some point, the crisis is just the job description with better branding.
And then the closing regret. He waited 2 years because he didn't connect subscription experience to DVDs fast enough.
That's the cruel part. Hindsight, when you already know the economics, still delays action.
That's why speed matters not just operationally, but intellectually. Connect dots earlier.
So if we distill this episode, find the lever, remove structural pain, test fast, and protect judgment and life.
And also treat learning as the product, because failed tests are still progress.
All right, that's the whole series then. No late fees, freedom with judgment, and more tests than your calendar can survive.
Thanks for hanging with us. Go run the next experiment and go live your damn life too. Welcome back. Episode 2 is the finale, and it's pure Netflix playbook energy.
They break down how fast experimentation found product-market fit, plus why no late fees was the killer lever.
The whole hard work doesn't matter vibe is messing with my brain a bit.
Hard work matters, but apparently the hard part is choosing experiments intelligently.
Yeah, because they basically said, don't waste months perfecting the test.
I love that their tests got sloppy, and still the signal got louder.
Exactly. If the idea had an inkling of goodness, customers would raise their hand anyway.
But that assumes you can survive running bad tests all day.
Right, most founders run one test and then emotionally litigate every word in the copy.
Our boardrooms are basically trial courts for why we were wrong.
And that blame culture makes failure feel like a career-ending event.
Netflix reframed failure as data, like, did the customers perk up or not?
Which is such a brutally clean definition of success for early stages.
The pivot itself, subscription plus no due dates, how did they predict that would work?
They didn't predict it. They just noticed the inventory pain in the warehouse.
That warehouse scene is so underrated. These DVDs are doing nothing sitting here.
Then the idea becomes, store them at your house, pay monthly, and make the friction vanish.
But the late fees removal feels like a product design decision, not just pricing.
It's behavioral economics disguised as a business model.
Losing $4 becomes losing $12 emotionally. Loss aversion is savage.
And Blockbuster's punishment ending is exactly the peak-end psychology thing.
Your last memory of the experience is getting charged like you did something wrong.
Late fees are basically customer experience malware.
Still, do we buy the claim that removing late fees alone makes it faster than Blockbuster?
Not alone. It's the whole system. No due dates, monthly subscription, DVDs on TV waiting.
So lag, time becomes zero because you're not racing the clock to return it.
Yep, you always have something to watch. Then you mail it back when you're done.
That's genius, because convenience is not a feature, it's a loop.
And it turns the old competitive moat into a trap for Blockbuster's economics.
Because if your whole model depends on late fees, you can't just pivot without admitting failure.
That's the innovator's dilemma, right? Rich companies keep their B team on the problem.
Yeah, Blockbuster allegedly treated online like a revenue add-on, not the future core.
And Netflix was like, We're a software company with tooling, not a store network.
That difference in mindset is why speed beats resources sometimes.
But I still think resources matter, like you need talent and logistics too.
Sure, but Netflix's point was, even with sloppy execution, the right direction is visible in customer behavior.
That's the test culture. Ship the ugly draft fast, then learn from the reaction.
And then they go even more radical with culture. No guardrails, just use your best judgment.
Freedom and responsibility sounds like HR poster material, until you see the firing logic underneath.
Exactly. The only way no policies works is if you hire judgment and remove the people without it.
No guardrails is only safe if you have guardrail-grade people.
That hot tub anecdote was telling, engineers complaining while enjoying the amenities.
It's agency. They want to be treated like adults, not like infants with expense approval gates.
Most companies think the fix is more process, but Netflix thinks the fix is fewer infantilizing decisions.
And the unlimited holiday point is basically, don't redesign policies for the bottom 5%.
Right. You tighten rules for the worst actors, and suddenly the entire system gets worse.
Netflix's approach is brutal but elegant. Keep freedom, then correct via personnel decisions.
Where do you land on it? Are you comfortable building that kind of culture?
I'm comfortable when the team is small, but scaling feels like it invites chaos.
Chaos is inevitable, but hope is not a strategy.
True. So the real question is, can you keep hiring judgment and keep everyone accountable to outcomes?
And accountable doesn't mean micromanage. It means the standards are explicit and shared.
The standard being, if your words are freedom posters, your actions better match the poster.
Speaking of actions, date night. Tuesdays is such a human pivot inside all this strategy talk.
It's the reminder that balance isn't a vibe, it's a system.
The best part is crisis stopping after 5 p.m. because people adapt to boundaries.
It's basically operationalizing love and life maintenance.
And that ties back to tests. You set constraints, then observe behavior.
Exactly. The same experimental logic applied to your personal life.
Did you catch the regret at the end? Waiting 2 years because subscription economics didn't map to DVDs sooner?
That one hurts because it's the same lesson we're beating into everyone. Connect dots early.
Hindsight doesn't just teach you, it bullies you.
But it also validates that learning loops matter, even when you're the founder.
So the finale thesis is, find the pain, remove the structural friction, test fast, and protect judgment.
And treat learning as the product, because failed tests are still signals you can scale.
All right, no late fees for our listeners. Go run the next experiment and live your damn life.
Thanks for hanging with us on this 2-episode run. See you in the next series.
Welcome back. This is the final episode of The Run.
We dive into how Netflix found product-market fit by testing fast, and why no late fees flipped everything.
The core idea is brutal. Don't perfect tests, run sloppy ones that can still reveal truth.
Yeah, wrong image, still learn something is such a weirdly powerful philosophy.
I kept thinking about how perfectionists burn weeks, then learn nothing but their own anxiety.
The guest basically said it's not about the perfect experiment, it's about the feedback speed.
But where's the line between fast tests and just random chaos?
If you're random, customers won't give you a signal. You'll just get noise.
So the discipline is in the hypothesis, not the polish, right?
Exactly. Think of it like you're allowed to be messy, not blind.
And the no late fees pivot is the clearest example of structural friction being the enemy.
Late fees weren't just a revenue lever, they were a psychological punishment.
You can rent joy, but if you're late, we'll take your joy back with interest.
Loss aversion made it brutal. People hate feeling like they lost money for nothing.
And the peak and end thing, Blockbuster's ending experience was basically getting punished.
So when you remove late fees, you don't just change policy, you change the whole story customers remember.
That's why the subscription worked too. It turned renting into a low-friction habit.
It's not a transaction, it's a relationship with optional movies.
Still, though, subscription economics aren't obvious until you get wrecked by cash flow.
Right. Month one you spend on acquisition, month one you barely earn, then boom later.
And in the dot-com era, they were basically gambling on a future that vanished overnight.
That's why the learning loop mattered. When everything dried up, you needed product truth fast.
I love the line about not debating tests in a boardroom. Just run more tests.
Boardroom guys want certainty. Experimentation gives them cardio.
And the market always wins, eventually in public.
The market is the only unbiased judge, but you have to show it your options quickly.
The part about failing isn't failure clicked for me. Tests are still learning even when customers don't bite.
Failed tests are like calibration, not condemnation.
That mindset is also culture, isn't it? Because if failure means blame, people hide results.
Exactly. If you punish bad bets, you'll only get safe bets, and safe bets don't find breakthroughs.
The whole freedom and responsibility philosophy is basically a hiring filter, not a slogan.
Yes, remove guardrails, but only because you trust judgment, and you don't keep people who can't use it.
That sounds great, until you're the founder who hires the wrong people once.
Then you're not practicing culture, you're doing expensive negligence.
Netflix's version is, fire the three, don't rewrite the rules for everyone.
Translation: don't infantilize the talented majority to soothe the loud minority.
I also liked the subtle point. Culture is observational, not aspirational.
Posters don't create behavior, founders do.
The culture handbook line was savage. HR can't fix your hypocrisy.
If leaders say we want candor, but act like cowards, people stop speaking truth.
And that candor connects back to tests. If nobody can admit this didn't work, experiments die.
So the no late fees story isn't only about movies, it's a template for systems thinking.
Remove a hated constraint, reframe the value, then test until momentum appears.
The guest kept describing it like, customers raise their hand like, finally.
That instant momentum is basically product-market fit happening in real time.
It's not a slide deck metric. It's the business turning from push to pull.
But how do you know you found it, and not just a random spike?
You watch retention and do they come back without persuasion?
And for Netflix, no late fees remove the emotional cliff at the end of the experience.
Blockbuster's end was basically a receipt of regret.
The thank you for returning also pay us more combo. That's villain UX.
It's such a clean example of how customer pain can be competitive advantage for someone else.
And then the strategic alternatives part. When you're losing money, you're forced into motion.
The Blockbuster pitch meeting in shorts is such a perfect image of humility meeting delusion.
How much? Silence. And everyone realizes the valuation arithmetic is fantasy.
Which loops back to, you can't negotiate physics, cash flow rules eventually show up.
I'm also chewing on the regret at the end, waiting 2 years to map subscription learnings.
That's the hindsight bully again, but it's useful. Try earlier. Validate sooner.
Like, your unique past is sitting there, waiting to be reused as experiments.
And if you're lucky, your culture makes it normal to test stupid ideas fast.
Before we wrap, I want to connect it to life too, because the guest made balance a system, not a mood.
Tuesday date night at 5 o'clock sharp. That's commitment encoded into routine.
It's like, even your personal life needs guardrails you actually want.
And he said balance isn't quitting. It's distributing work and trusting others.
Same theme again. Freedom only works when judgment and systems exist.
All right, wrap it up. Freedom to test, remove friction, protect judgment, and then go live.
Thanks for riding this 2-episode run. Seriously, we hope it changed how you run your business.
If you take one thing, run the next experiment today, then protect your focus while you do it.
See you in the next series. Go build, but don't forget to breathe.
Welcome back, Daniel. Episode 2, and it's the finale.
We unpack how Netflix found product market fit via relentless fast testing, no late fees, and a freedom with judgment culture.
The funniest part is, the hard work doesn't matter vibe, but the story screams effort.
Yeah, because the real variable wasn't hard work. It was feedback speed and removing customer pain.
That whole "we argued over every word of copy" phase sounds like founders trying to be perfectionist dads.
Perfectionism as a feature until it becomes the bug that delays your learning loop.
I love the punchline. A bad idea tested fast beats a good test prepared forever.
Exactly. Once they sped up, the tests got sloppy, but the customers still gave loud signals.
Wrong image, watermark, broken links, crashes, and still the market reacted. What is that about then?
It's like the customer doesn't care if your link is perfect. They care if the underlying promise feels right.
So Netflix basically learned, your distribution can be ugly if the product market fit is real.
And your culture can be messy as long as your hypotheses are disposable.
The no due dates, no late fees thing is the clearest pivot in the entire conversation.
It's not even a tiny tweak. It flips the entire experience end to end.
Wait, the Blockbuster comparison, how exactly does that make Netflix faster competitively?
Because Blockbuster's 20 minutes to rent forgets the 10 days of your future guilt arc.
Right. Late fees are that unpleasant, you lost money for nothing punishment.
And that loss aversion frame is brutal. Losing feels about twice as painful as gaining helps.
So it's not for a day, it's I'm being mugged after I already enjoyed the movie.
And the Uber peak end thing, people remember the peak and they remember the ending more than the middle.
Okay, but is that psychologically provable or just marketing storytelling?
I don't know if it's provable, but it matches how humans actually complain, especially after the fun part.
That's the essence. You can tolerate effort, but you hate feeling trapped by rules after the fact.
And Netflix's subscription model weaponized that, turning an impediment into a moat.
They basically said, fine, we'll be slower than Blockbuster unless we remove the countdown.
Yeah, the movies sit on your TV, not in your anxiety calendar.
Your lag time is 0 compared to driving to Blockbuster in 20 minutes. That line should be printed on a wall.
And the more subtle win, once you remove due dates and late fees, customers stop thinking transactionally.
They start thinking, I'm already a customer. So churn psychology changes.
Exactly. Then you get retention momentum that lets you invest in acquisition more confidently.
But did they know subscription economics would be huge? Because he said they absolutely didn't.
Which is the whole point. Product market fit isn't theoretical. It's when momentum flips on.
Momentum like customers stick, hiring gets easier, everything gears up overnight. That's the definition.
It's like a switch in the system. Suddenly, customers raise their hands instead of asking for discounts.
Most startups try to earn that switch with endless boardroom debates instead of experiments.
The boardroom is where tests go to die. Everyone wants the perfect test because failure feels punishable.
The culture piece was spicy. Failures aren't failures, they're tests you learned from.
That's why he says it's not risk-taking as a slogan. It's risk tolerance embedded in incentives and behavior.
I was nodding when he described companies rewarding sales trips to Hawaii, but not rewarding speaking up honestly.
Incentives are basically the hidden constitution of the firm.
Then the culture handbook, freedom and responsibility, wasn't poster culture. It was behavior culture.
And the harsh truth, if leaders don't model it, you can't HR your way into it.
I'm curious, though. No guardrails sounds great until you meet the 3 people without judgment.
That's the key. Freedom works only if you hire for judgment and remove repeat offenders fast.
Netflix take down the guardrails philosophy is basically, if they can't handle adult freedom, they're not adult hires.
And it flips what people think of as management. Less control, more accountability to outcomes.
That hot tub story, amenities don't fix morale, being treated like an adult does.
Engineers bitching in a hot tub is the most engineering thing imaginable.
Then the relationship part, Tuesday date night at 5 sharp, this was honestly relatable.
Yeah, because it's not quit the job. It's design your life so crises don't eat everything.
I love that the crisis frequency after Tuesday 5 just stopped.
That's the real power of constraints. Your brain adapts to the boundary.
Also, it forces other people to solve things without you hovering like a satellite.
And that maps back to the company culture. Distribute responsibility so you're not the bottleneck.
Okay, but last question. What do you think he was most wrong about? He said he took too long to use subscription ideas for Netflix.
Yeah, he basically regrets not trying the stupid subscription angle earlier. 2 years, wasted learning, wasted time.
2 years is a long time in startup years, like that's an entire birth cycle.
That's why these stories matter. The lesson is speed, but also humility. Your insight can be late.
So the meta is, keep running fast tests, but also don't let "I'll refine it later" become an identity.
And remember, freedom without judgment becomes chaos, but freedom with systems becomes momentum.
Freedom to test, remove friction, protect judgment, then go live, and keep your life protected too.
That's it for the 2-episode run. Thanks for hanging out with us while we turned Netflix into operating lessons.
If you took one thing, run the next experiment today and protect your focus while you do it.
See you in the next series. Go build, but don't forget to breathe.
Welcome back. This episode finishes the Netflix rabbit hole with the real playbook.
We dug into product market fit, why no late fees mattered, and how culture plus fast tests beat perfectionism.
The no late fees thing is so petty sounding, but it felt like a cheat code.
It's not petty, it's emotional leverage, removing the punishment at the end.
Like loss aversion, right? People hate feeling like they lost money for nothing.
But I always thought convenience wins, not psychology.
Convenience is the headline, the psychology is the hidden engine.
Exactly. Late fees are basically a surprise fine, and that ruins the last impression.
And Netflix turns the last impression into thanks for returning, so the end is clean.
Blockbuster's ending was also pay me more, like a jump scare.
That's such a brutal user experience for something people already paid to enjoy.
The crazy part is how they linked it to competitive speed, mail lag versus store drive.
Wait, they weren't just removing fees, they were turning a delay into zero-lag scheduling.
Like the customer parks DVDs on the TV, returns when done, and replacements flow automatically.
So suddenly you're not slower than Blockbuster. You're faster because you choose the timing.
And that's where product market fit clicks. Demand spikes, churn drops, recruiting gets easier.
Recruiting gets easier is such a sneaky KPI for, oh wow, customers actually want this.
But I'm obsessed with how they got there. Hundreds of bad tests before the big aha.
Most founders fear tests because failure becomes blame culture.
Right, and the fix isn't try harder, it's redefining failure as learning signals.
I love the line. He doesn't even call them failures, they're tests that didn't work yet.
If your brain can't label them learning, your company will label them career-ending.
The cursed combo is slow experiments plus careful wording plus a month wasted.
And then you speed up testing, and it gets sloppy. But it still works, because the signal is real.
How does sloppy testing not poison the outcome, though?
Because the objective isn't craftsmanship, it's customer behavior. Do they reach, call, subscribe, stick?
That means the test's job is to be cheap enough to run, not perfect enough to impress your CFO.
Your CFO should not be impressed by your mock-ups. They should be impressed by conversion.
Still, I worry. What if customers react to the test UI, not the underlying idea?
Fair, but you can control that by iterating fast. If UI is the driver, the learning won't persist.
So the strategy is move fast enough that the market tells you what matters.
Which leads to the bigger cultural claim: freedom and responsibility without guardrails.
That no guardrails sentence is terrifying if you don't trust people.
Yeah, if your hiring is random, Use your best judgment becomes roll dice, hope HR survives.
The whole point is, only works when judgment is the hiring bar, not a vibe.
I like that he said culture comes from founder behavior, not posters or policies.
Observational culture, not aspirational culture, that's so true.
And the practical twist? Rules appear because a few bad actors can't handle freedom.
So Unlimited Holiday exists until Tom, Dave, and Nigel show up late and ruin it for everyone.
The resolution shouldn't be change the company, it should be remove the people.
That's the uncomfortable lesson. Guardrails are expensive, even if they feel safer.
Also, it's motivational. People want agency, not babysitting.
Amenities don't fix morale. Being treated like an adult fixes morale.
But do you think freedom always scales? Like at 10 people versus 1,000?
I mean, human nature gets messier at scale. Someone will game the system.
True, but the system can evolve without collapsing freedom. Tighten the hiring bar and fire fast outliers.
So instead of adding rules, you remove rule-breaking patterns.
Exactly. Freedom with accountability, not freedom with loopholes.
I also liked the pivot from testing speed to life speed. Date night Tuesday at 5.
The idea that crises stop after the system catches up is hilarious and also kind of profound.
It's like, if you enforce a boundary, people adapt, and you train the org around priorities.
And it's not just romance. It's modeling work-life structure to prevent burnout.
I'm leaving at 5 sharp is the most founder-coded relationship advice ever.
It's an experiment with real variables. Work emergencies versus commitment.
And his conclusion was balance isn't optional. It's part of staying able to build for years.
Which loops back to the first principles. Focus matters, and so does pace.
Also that regret, knowing subscription economics but not trying it with Netflix sooner, that's brutal.
That's the meta-humility. Even with expertise, you can be late to the obvious solution.
2 years isn't just time, it's opportunity cost, burned money, and delayed momentum.
And the fix is simple, but hard. Run tests earlier, accept learning faster, and don't let perfection block shipping.
So if someone listening is sitting in a boardroom debating the perfect experiment,
they should probably stop debating and start annoying customers with quick trials.
Annoy customers is the founder version of therapy.
Quick trials, real signals, freedom with judgment, and protect your life like it's a product too.
And there you go. Tests build the company, culture sustains it, and boundaries keep you human.
That's it for the 2-episode run. Thanks for hanging out with us through the Netflix scale lesson.
If you take one thing, run the next experiment today and protect your focus while you do it.
See you in the next series. Go build, but don't forget to breathe.